Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm walking you through my cookie decorating process. We will be decorating a Valentine's food pun cookie set. Here are a few details on my icing consistency and the colors that I used. Anytime that I do have stencil guides, I do begin by tracing my cookies to make sure I know where to pipe, and I simply use a Chef Master edible food pen. You can use any food pen that you have available. You can also skip on using stencils and just freehand your cookies if this seems like too much work for you. Now that my cookie is outlined with the stencil, I'm going to go ahead and outline with some icing to make sure that the edge crusts a little bit before I flood it. For this next part, you definitely don't need to cut your outline like I did here. You can just flood your cookie. The reason that I did cut my outline this way is so that my cookies can look a little bit like they're twisting, and you'll see what I mean in a few minutes. And I do wait approximately 5 minutes between flooding each section to create a more textured and defined look. You can also use your dehydrator so that you don't have to wait the 5 minutes, and just place your cookies in there to help crust up your previous section of icing. When my cookie is flooded, I use a scribe tool to spread my icing. Please keep in mind that since I do use thicker icing, it does take a while to spread my icing with the scribe. So if you use a thick consistency to outline and a thinner consistency to flood, this part is easier. To create the look of salt, you can use white jimmies or white dusting sugar, or a mix of both like I did here. And also feel free to outline your pretzel and flood it in one simple motion instead of creating the illusion that it's wrapping around itself. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it's definitely a lot easier and a lot faster than having to wait for your cookie to crust, etc. And on another note, this tiny turntable is not necessary, but it's definitely very helpful. And please remember that if you are starting out, don't feel like you have to go out and buy all these tools and have all the things. If you don't have a scribe, you can use a toothpick. If you don't have a little turntable, just place your cookie on top of a napkin to help you rotate it on your surface so that you don't have to touch it so much. And now that our pretzel is done, let's move on to our heart cookie where we will write our pun. After I flooded my cookie, I did wait about 10 minutes for it to crust up a little bit, and to project the text onto my cookie, I used a mini PICO projector. I will leave the link to this font in the description box below, and I also have a video on how to set up and use the PICO projector. The link will also be in the description box below. For piping lettering, I do like to use even stiffer icing to make sure that the letters don't touch. So for example, when I make my icing straight out of the batch, that's how stiff writing consistency should be. Sometimes I do make my writing consistency a little bit runnier, but I basically just like to make sure it's stiff so that when I have hoops and loops, they don't touch. At the end, I did add a few hearts for details, and here's how my cookie set turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave your questions below, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!